There's a university at the tip of Africa that's right at the top of its game. It's a place with a proud history and legacy, pulled upwards by a future that will not be tamed.
It brims over with powerful ideas that again and again lead to potent action and real change. Since when? 6 decades long, it's been home to groundbreakers, change makers, planet shakers, and it's still going strong.
It's the home of forward-thinking higher learning, homegrown pride and a story still unfurling, independent thought which sparks innovation, mindful global citizens and their perpetual liberation.
Today, this is my home, my community, my springboard, my zone, like iron sharpening iron. Here, my potential is mined, my mind is refined, and my future redefined.
It's our time to learn from our past and our histories, to be the leaders of tomorrow's victories.
It's our time to stand up and step into our light.
To rise with Africa and all the world by our side.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, our graduands. Our graduation ceremony will commence shortly. And before we do so, we would like to share the following announcements and guidelines with you. In the event of emergency, please remain calm and follow the instructions of the safety officer and ushers. All cell phones and electronic devices should be switched off or placed on silent mode. Lavatory facilities are to your left as you exit the venue. Please refrain from moving towards the stage to take photographs or record the proceedings, as this is disruptive to the event and to other guests and graduands. Photographers are set up in the Student Center should you wish to take a family photo. Refreshments will be provided to you after the ceremony, and the ushers will guide you to where it will be offered. For our graduands, only doctoral graduands are required to have a cap. All other graduands do not require a cap, and should you have one, please leave it at your seat. Doctoral graduands are to keep their caps in their hands and not to wear them until their degrees have been conferred. Graduands, on the back of your seat is your name card that you must present to the Dean when you are at the podium. Make sure that you have your hood and that it is draped over your left arm with the flap to the front. University staff members will indicate when your row should move from your seats towards the podium. You will move to your right from your row. Take your name card and hood with you. Once at the podium, hand your name card to the Dean and stand on the black line that is on the carpet. Once your name is called, collect your card from the Dean and proceed to the Chancellor. Graduand, please kneel with the right knee on the bench in front of the Chancellor or Vice-Chancellor whilst they cap you. A photograph will be taken at this point. Proceed from there to the registrar, who will place the hood on you. Face the audience and then leave the stage. Doctoral graduands, you will then place their caps on their heads. Should there be a graduate with the registrar when you're approaching, please wait in front of the black line on the carpet that is close to the registrar. This will allow the photographers to take the photo of the next graduate who is being capped by the Chancellor. When leaving the stage, go down the stairs, turn right and proceed down the passage where you will receive your certificate or letter of completion. Re-enter the hall from the door on your left on the ground floor and proceed to your seat. University staff will direct you. Graduands, please note that this is an important notice. Once you have had your degree conferred upon, please do not leave the hall with your guests, as it is disrespectful to other graduands, guests, and university officials. You may only leave once the ceremony has been concluded by the Chancellor. The academic procession will enter the hall from the center doorway towards the stage. The audience will be requested to stand and remain standing. The Chancellor will constitute the congregation. We will then sing the national anthem and encourage all to participate. Thereafter, a prayer will be conducted. An indication will be given for you to be seated. At the end of the ceremony, you are requested to stand and remain standing as the academic procession leaves the hall. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today to celebrate the achievements of the graduates.
graduates, guests, can I ask you to please rise for the academic procession?
I declare this congregation of the University of the Western Cape duly constituted. Ndazisa ngokusemthethweni lenhlangano ye-University yentshona Kapa ek hierdie vergadering van die Universiteit van Wes-Kaapland as behoorlik geconstitueer.
The national anthem will be led by Richmond Sibuyi. the UWC Creative Arts Choir. It can be found on page 16 of your program. Please join us in singing the national anthem. Be seated. The university respects and recognizes all faiths, and in an effort to respect the major faiths observed by the UWC community, we have arranged for a spiritual leader from each of these to lead us in prayer on a rotational basis. This afternoon, we will be led in prayer by Mr. Roderick George.
Good afternoon. Please let us pray. Almighty God, how can we repay you for all the marvelous things you have done, and for the unimaginable ways in which your hand has so graciously provided for us? Today is unique. We thank you that you have crowned this day with your glory and your splendor. We might have gathered here many times before, but your mercies are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. We invoke your name over the proceedings of this graduation ceremony. We call on you to guide us and to bless the purpose of this auspicious occasion. As we entrust these graduates into your gracious care, we thank you for each one of them. We thank you for their joy and for their tears that have been indicative of the strides that they have made since they have embarked on this journey. We pray for the contribution that the graduates will make to the fabric of society and for the lives that would be touched. We realize that our communities, our country, and the world require people who are committed to seeking solutions to the myriads of challenges confronting our times. Thus, we pray that you will send them, empower them, and use them to impact others. We now entrust the ceremony into your care, and we pray that our joy, our laughter, our tears of triumph will mark the great memories we are creating today. Dear God, receive our thanks, receive the highest praise, and continue that great work that you have begun in all of our lives. We pray this with much thanksgiving. Amen.
The SRC President, Mr. Kasembe, will now address you.
Thank you so much, Registrar. To the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Professor Khalakhala, to the Deans of Faculties, DVCs in absentia, the VC in absentia, the Registrar, Dr. Lawton Mizra, the collective that is with us here in the platform, the Student Representative Council that is led by the President and the Secretary General, the delegation of it thereof that is Mr. Lindo Ndlovu, the Gender and Safety Officer, and Ms. Pindile Dlamini, who is the Public Relations Officer. To the graduates, and most importantly, the parents who have come here to witness this momentous and historic occasion. Sanbonan. And also, I just want to make a side note and greet all the Kaizer Chiefs fans. It's very important. All protocols have been observed. But I also want to make a special acknowledgement to specifically two people that I hold very dear that are graduating here today. The first, Mr. Spiwo Litompo, who is graduating here today from the ranks of the South African Students' Congress, the Progressive Movement, and also one of my mentors and someone who has taught me so much than I could ever desire, from the ranks of being a floor rep to becoming a two-term House Committee to leading the political formation and also being the SRC President, who is graduating here today with his LLM, Mr. Greg Kulani Mhlanga. I also want to echo a special acknowledgement and a special honor. You may not know that you're my mentor, but I thought I should confess it here today. So, before I start, I love telling stories, right? So, to try and ease the moment that we are in. And so I thought long and hard in the address that I was preparing here today, and I pondered on a story that I think is befitting of the moment and the occasion that we are in. You know, there was once a generation, I think, that was barely older than you and I, that was asked to carry on their young shoulders the heaviest burden of history, and that is freedom. They were about 16, 17, no, 18 years old, thereabout, just boys and girls in school uniform, who on the 16th of June 1976, for as we know it as Youth Day, walked out of the classrooms of Soweto. They carried no weapons but just an idea. Just an idea. You see, they were shot at, they were arrested, they were tortured, they were killed. Today, that is the age when children are still fighting with their parents about data bundles and PlayStation. You know, just the other day I was set, and you know, us as men, when we get our free time, when the women are out doing their activities and duties, and men, we finally find our own free time. We have completed all the tasks and duties. There's something that we do to really, you know, exhaust our free time, and that's nothing. So I sat there and I did nothing, and so in my mind, I thought, you know what? The TV is boring, so let me go and get PlayStation. So I went out and I bought a PlayStation 5, very beautiful thing, I must say. So I then plugged it in, and so when I plugged it in, my niece came in and she saw this PlayStation, and she did an odd thing of this generation that they do today, Registrar, it's called, and she said to me, "Oh, Malume, clock it, clock it." It's the clock it generation that we are in. You see, Hector Peterson's time, rather, compared to what I have just described, had no luxury of youth. Their youth, I would argue, was stolen by a system that saw them as threats. You see, that generation believed in an idea, the idea that South Africa should be free. and they paid the price of their blood for that idea. But as we are gathered here today, I think that we gather for a very fundamental and a brutal truth that we ought to confront. Their struggle gave us democracy, yes, I do not deny that. Their courage gave us rights, yes. But I think, with the most sincerest way I could say it, democracy has not yet given us an economy that breathes life into our youth. You see, we are called the born frees, but the central question that we must ask ourselves is, are we really free? We are called the digital natives, but we should also ask ourselves the question, are we thriving in this digital economy? You see, the South African economy is not growing. In fact, it is shrinking. Unemployment rate sits at about 32.9%. And that's just by the narrow definition. Just last quarter, it increased by 0.3%. That's about 5 million more people that are unemployed, 140 to 150,000 students that are still without access to education. You see, among the youth, it is worse. They are without work. Half. Now, that is the equivalent of saying that you, in the front row, you may be employed, back row, you're unemployed. The next, you're unemployed. The next one is unemployed. From my left-hand side, you're also unemployed. And on my right-hand side, you're all unemployed. That's the sad reality that we live in. And that's the cold arithmetic of our time. You see, we graduate, I think, thousands of us each and every year wearing gowns and caps, shaking hands, smiling for the autographs and photographs. But yet behind those smiles is the quiet fear. What next? What do I do with this certificate? Because let's be honest and let's be frank with each other. Our country does not have a jobs plan. It has a joblessness plan. And we are going there. We are going there and we are going nowhere very quickly. And too often we, the youth, are lulled into distance, I think. I think that we are distracted. We are more informed about the latest TikTok challenge than about Treasury's budget statement. We are more prepared for groove than the fourth industrial revolution. I'm guilty too, okay. But humor me for a moment, humor me if you will. Many of us can name every single Beyonce album. I can too. I Am Sasha Fierce, For, Dangerously in Love. I know all of them. But can you name the unemployment rates in your own province? We can quote Drake's lyrics word for word, but can we quote one section of the very same constitution that we have adopted and claim to live under? I guess it's God's plan. See what I did there? Bars. But you see, this is not shame to us. It is to awaken us, I think. Because if we do not wake up, if we do not rise, then we will continue to be a generation that inherits democracy but fails to inherit dignity. So the question that we must ask ourselves now is, why are we here? DVC, I think that we are here because our economy grows at less than 1% year on year. Because energy is unreliable and that corruption eats away at every cent of opportunity that is meant for the youth of this country. You see, education has become a conveyor belt that produces graduates but not entrepreneurs, not certificates, not innovation. I think that we are here because there's a new draft proposal of the National Credit Amendment Bill, which has now proposed to classify even institutions and students as debtors. Meaning that you, yes, you, fresh from graduation, are already drowning in student debt. You could be locked into a financial system that has been designed to keep you poor before you even start and participate meaningfully in this economy. You graduate into debt, not into dignity. And then we are told, you know the old rhetoric, right? Go fend for yourselves. Indeed, fellow youth, I aim to argue here today, we are on our own. And so I say to you today that graduation is not the end. It is the beginning of the struggle for survival. Your certificate, dare I say, is not a guarantee. It is rather a tool. And I think that the real question for me is not whether you have a degree. The real question is whether you have resilience. Whether you can adapt, whether you can innovate, whether you can hustle, whether you can build and carve out a space in a world that will not bail you out. Because no one is coming to save us. Not government, not business, not institutions, not entrepreneurs, not even the private sector itself. And if we are then to be alive in this, it will be because we chose to save ourselves. So yes, I come here today to say that yes, we will fail many times than you can imagine, but we must never, ever, for a single time, mistake failure for finality. You see, failure is not the end, it's rather the beginning. Failure is not the tombstone, it is the stepping stone. But as we rise from this failure, we must rise not blindly, we must be very deliberate and very intentional about our approach. We must examine, I think, very critically what it will take for us as a very young nation in this African continent that has the youngest population growth in the world to be alive in this moment of crisis. And so I think there are three truths that I want to leave with you here today. Three very fundamental things that I think you can take away as you usher into a world that has told you already that you are not enough. Here's the first thing that I want to say to you. And if you cannot hear my words, hear my heart. I say this with the utmost respect. We must remove old power in government and be very deliberate about it. You see, our democracy is very precious, but it is not sacred if it is misused. Too often we are ruled not by the visionaries, but by caretakers of old power. Men and women who have overstayed their welcome in the seat, in the table, and who confuse leadership with entitlement. Who clutch to those levers of power, not to serve, but to preserve themselves and enrich themselves within the system. You see, we cannot build a youthful economy with a tired leadership. And we cannot create jobs with leaders who see governance as a pension fund. So if we want to be very alive in this moment that we are in, then we must deliberately create political power that is young, that is ethical, that is accountable, and very courageous. This is not about disrespecting the older generation, far it be from that. It is rather recognizing that we, you and I, the youth of this country, cannot be passengers forever. We must be the drivers and the innovators. We must lead, not be led endlessly by those who no longer know the language of our times. Do you agree with me? Here's the second thing that I want to say to you. You see, the quality of our education now matters more than just the access to it. Yes, we fought for access, and in fact, I would argue that there's been a great number of access to education in the post-democratic South Africa. We fought for open gates and no financial barriers, but what use is a gate that leads us into a broken classroom? What use is a certificate that opens no doors? You see, we cannot remain satisfied with being in the system if the system itself is producing mediocrity. We need education that equips us not only to pass these exams, but to solve problems, to innovate, and to compete globally. The truth is, access was the battle of the past. Quality is the battle of the present. If we lose this one, we will raise a generation of graduates who cannot find work, not because there are no jobs, but because they are unprepared for the jobs that exist. So then, education must produce not only employable graduates, but employable citizens. Entrepreneurs, thinkers, the socially conscious leaders, the rulers of politics, or otherwise, we will remain a nation with certificates but no capacity. Here's the last thing that I want to leave you with. You see, the informal economy isn't so informal after all. Every morning across this country, millions, and I mean millions of people set up stalls, they sell goods on our corners, they fix those cars in the backyards, they sell goods and services even within our own institutions, specifically the residences, these micro enterprises with little more than grit and determination. This so-called informal economy already sustains nearly about 5 million jobs. In my view, that is no longer informal. That is the heartbeat of our nation's survival. So I think that we must stop despising and casting aspersions about the hustle. We must stop looking down on that hawker. We must stop looking down at that spaza shop, that township mechanic, and that kasi hairdresser. That economy is not an embarrassment. It is Africa's inheritance. What if we actually invested in it? What if we gave it policy support? What if we gave it access to credit? What if we gave it digital tools and recognition? Then, in my argument, we would not have informal work. We would have a new industrial revolution born out of our own integrity. Now, to be alive in this moment, young people, we must embrace the economy that is not just in Sandton, that economy that is not just in Cape Town. We must rather embrace that economy that is in the streets, that economy that is in the stalls, that economy that is small but resilient enterprises that refuse to die. That is where the hope of this nation lives. So as I conclude, I see you, Registrar, you're making that face again. As I conclude, graduates, fellow youth, my beloved community, today I have spoken with some level of urgency, some level of frankness, but also some level of hope that not all has been lost. I have spoken today not only as a student, but as one who has had the rare honor to serve you, to walk with you, and to lead alongside with you. And today I want to take this opportunity to also speak with a great level of gratitude, for this is not only just an address for me, it is my final graduation address as your SRC president for the year 2024-2025. And it has been a whirlwind journey, I must say. I stand here very humbled to be given this opportunity to lead each and every student of the University of the Western Cape, approximately 26 to 27,000 in total. This role was never about me, it was about us. It was about carrying the voices of students who demanded dignity, who deserved to be heard, who fought for every inch of progress we have made together. And I thank the Student Representative Council, the organization that has deployed us to, that has been steadfast in ensuring that we deliver our mandate to the students. Thank you to the SRC for opening the gates of learning, for introducing policy and accommodation reforms, and for bringing back student vibrancy and experience, for showing that absolute radicalism can exist without causing anarchy. So, with that being said, I thank this movement for teaching and giving us the opportunity to co-govern this institution. I would also like to make a plea to the students of this university that as we are in this month of September, I would like the university students to participate in the upcoming student governance elections to make their voices heard on the 25th and on the 26th of September 2025. I ask that may we collectively take the time to vote for our desired student formations and representatives in governance. May we be clear in ushering a kind of leadership that has been present, visible, consistent, and has championed your rights and your aspirations. With that being said, I thank you for trusting me. I thank you for challenging me. And at times, I also thank you for criticizing me. And always reminding me that leadership is not about titles, but it is rather about the service for students. And so as I bow out of this chapter for this year, I leave you with this charge. Do not wait to be saved. Be your own rescue, be your own answer, and be your own power. Because youth, we are really on our own. But if we choose to rise, if we choose to act very deliberately, and if we choose to act very boldly, then we will not only survive in this moment, we will be very alive in it. And in the words of Nelson Mandela, that is an idea that for which I am prepared to die for. I thank you so much.
I think Mr. Kasembe needs another round of applause since this is his final address. Please put your hands together now to welcome the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Monwabisi Kgalagala, who will address you.
Mr. George, your voice keeps us going. Thank you very much. President Kasembe, thank you for that inspirational talk. It is really a stone swinger. I listened very carefully. Thank you so much. To members of council, I saw Meg Tickler, who's with us this afternoon. Thank you for coming through. Professor Robert Balfour, our Vice-Chancellor in absentia, our Deputy Vice-Chancellors, Prof. Matete, Prof. Joseph Franz, who are not with us, members of the University Executive, represented, of course, by the Registrar. The team is here, and the beauty that you see comes from that leadership. Thank you so much. And of course, our senators, esteemed academics, thank you for coming through this afternoon. Our deans of faculties, they are all here, and their reps are all here. And of course, members of the SRC, led by President Kasembe, we recognize you. And of course, our university community colleagues, distinguished guests, and most importantly, our graduates who will be honored this afternoon. To the parents, to the families, to friends, to the significant others, Molweni, Sanbonani, Dumelang, Goeiemiddag, good afternoon. I'm sure you can do better than that. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Before we proceed, let us pause and observe a moment of silence. Just bow our heads in honor of those who could not be part of us this afternoon, particularly the families and the significant others who are in line with our graduates this afternoon. Thank you so much. Today, we celebrate a moment that represents a milestone. Milestones are those events that mark significant transitions and stages in one's life. And your graduation this afternoon marks a milestone in your own life. Your achievement this afternoon reminds me of a very interesting story, which I think is worth sharing with you in an occasion like this. Many, many years ago, a farmer caught a young eagle and he brought it home. He put this eagle amongst his chickens and he gave it chicken food to eat. A couple of years later, a biologist visited the farmer and saw the eagle amongst the chickens, and he commented, "This bird is an eagle, is not a chicken." "Yes," said the farmer, "but I've trained it to be a chicken, and it's no longer an eagle, even though it measures 15 span in wingspan." "No," the biologist said, "it is an eagle. It has the heart of an eagle, and I will make it fly up to the heavens." "No," said the farmer, "it is a chicken, and it will never fly." They agreed to put this to test. The biologist picked up the eagle, held it up, and said with great intensity, "Eagle, you are an eagle. You belong to the skies, and you not belong to this earth. Fly and fly away." The eagle looked this way, looked that way, and it looked down, saw the chickens eating, and off it jumped to join the chickens again. The farmer said, "I told you, it is a chicken." "No," said the biologist, "it is an eagle. Let us try one more time." They repeated this again and again and again without securing a different outcome for the biologist. Then the farmer said, "I told you it was a chicken. You have to stop now." "No," said the biologist, "it is an eagle, and it still has the heart of an eagle. Let us try one more time." The next morning, the biologist came through in the early hours of the morning, and this time around, he took the eagle outside the city, away from the houses, to the foot of a high mountain. He picked up the eagle and said, "Eagle, you are an eagle after all. Spread your wings and fly." In the process of commanding the eagle, he made the eagle to look straight at the sun. And as the first rays of the sun hit its eyes, its natural instinct was activated. Suddenly, the eagle stretched out its wings, and with great and scream, an eagle, it mounted up higher and higher, and it never returned. It was an eagle, although it had been kept and tamed as a chicken. Now, for too long in this country, we have been made to believe that we are chickens. We are not chickens, we are eagles. And you are not chickens, you are eagles. If your ambition to fly like an eagle and explore great opportunities and make a meaningful contribution to society and to your communities, I want to invite you to place a premium on your own self-image and inner sense of worth as a point of departure before you seek external validation. Your institution, UWC, epitomizes an eagle, and so are you. Your achievement this afternoon embodies important attributes as mentioned by President Kasamba in his address not so long ago, which may include intelligence, diligence, resilience, hard work. I've never heard of anyone who died as a result of hard work, and you are a living testimony to that. The fact that we have 861, in fact, 860 of you are graduating today, including 25 doctorates, and of course, 82 master's degrees, validates the attributes that I've just mentioned, and of course, many, many more. Graduates, today you become part of a community that stretches across the country and of course the world. You have with you now a qualification, but also with the values of this institution, which include inclusiveness, diversity, collegiality, integrity, just to mention but a few. But always remember, as Prof. Balfour, our Vice Chancellor, reminded us this morning, that education is a shared responsibility. Use it with integrity, use it with imagination, and use it with courage. The former president of Harvard University, Derek Buck, also reminded us that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. I repeat, if you think education is expensive, you better try ignorance. You'll see the outcome. As I end off, I'd like to give thanks and appreciation to those who have worked so hard behind the scenes in making our September graduation a great success. Registrar, I'm looking at you, and of course, to all those who are involved, who have contributed to the success, as you can see. Top of my list are the individuals and group who have played a very important role in helping our graduates to reach the mountaintop. Of course, to the academics, academic staff, your love, your passion for what you do, your care, your support, your mentorship has yielded fruit once again. And I'm sure you can see the evidence is in abundance before you. Thank you very much. We salute you. To our professional staff, to our admin, and to our service support, your mentorship and your support again in a different way. And of course, the efficiency of this institution, which we cannot live without, is on your shoulders. So thank you very much. Your commitment and of course, your willingness to run an extra mile is acknowledged this afternoon. Thank you so much. To the parents, to the families, to the loved ones, you have proven once again that it takes a village to raise a child. You have made the biggest sacrifice of all times by putting your life on hold in order to fulfill the promise of someone's future. You've done it so well. You have shaped them and you have nurtured them. You have given them the best investment in life, and for that we are grateful. Thank you so much to all of you. Enjoy the graduation this afternoon. An item in song will be rendered by Ms. Kayleen Williams.
And the rough places plain. Every valley shall be exalted. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill made low. The crooked straight, the crooked straight, the crooked straight, and the rough places plain, and the rough places plain, and the rough places plain.
Ushers, please allow those who are waiting outside to come in.
By authority vested in me, I shall now admit the candidates who are presented to me and the candidates who were not able to attend this ceremony to degrees, diplomas, and certificates in the university.
Look at the camera there. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Zandiswele Mwetu Sutoi will now be introduced to you by Professor Mokadi Molotsani.
It is my greatest honor to introduce to you Mr. Mwetu. His study is about the lecturer's experiences and perceptions in creating inclusive spaces to prepare pre-service teachers for inclusive classroom. The study investigated the experiences and perceptions of lecturers in creating inclusive spaces in the learner education programs. It was conducted within the context of training of pre-service teachers at the Faculty of Education at the Western Cape, at the University of the Western Cape. The participants were 7 lecturers and 5 students. The qualitative case study was adopted, and the theories of care, planned behavior, and reflective practice theories were applied. It was found that lecturers used different methods to create inclusive spaces and prepare pre-service teachers to be inclusive in their future classroom. There was a lack of support for students with disability and those who struggle with the language of teaching and learning.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Zandisile Mwetu Sutoi. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate George Sika will now be introduced to you by Professor Melanie Lake.
It is my honor to introduce Mr. George Seeger, and the title of his thesis was An Exploration of the Teaching and Learning Experiences of Learners from Single and Two-Parent Households in Rural Schools in the Limpopo Province of South Africa. This study explored the educational experiences of learners from single and two-parent households in rural schools within South Africa's Limpopo province. Utilizing a mixed method sequential explanatory design, the research examined how different household structures influence the schooling experiences of learners in rural contexts. Anchored in Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory and Bandura's social learning theory, the study examined the complex interconnection between environments, school settings, and learner experiences in the Vahembe district. The findings contribute meaningfully to the ongoing debate on rural education, emphasizing the pivotal role of educators and the necessity of inclusive, context-responsive support systems in promoting learner success, irrespective of family composition.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on George Seeger.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Michelle Adams will now be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Haman.
Michelle's thesis title was The Challenges of Securing Convictions Against the Kingpins of Organized Crime in South Africa. This study examines criminal gangs and organized crime violence, focusing on the Cape Flats area in South Africa, especially the persistent inability to secure convictions against gang kingpins. Some of the underlying causes identified include collusion between gang leaders and police officials, as well as widespread corruption. The findings highlight that addressing this issue requires a concerted effort from all role players within the criminal justice system. Contributing factors include inadequate training, a lack of transparency in recruitment processes, and a significant public trust deficit regarding the competency, integrity, and capabilities of law enforcement. This study proposes radical reforms in the recruitment and training of law enforcement officers, advocating for intelligence-led policing and the integration of technology in investigations, evidence gathering, and the presentation of evidence in court. She completed this study whilst also being a judge in the High Court, Cape Town.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Laws on Michelle Adams. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Kerwin Newton will now be introduced to you by his co-supervisor, Professor Haman.
The title of Kerwin Newton's thesis was Addressing Technology-Facilitated Sexual Violence in South Africa. This thesis examines technology-facilitated sexual violence, a distinctive form of sexual gender-based violence enabled by digital and communication technologies. It examines acts such as non-consensual image sharing, cyber flashing, cyber stalking, and online harassment within South Africa's distinctive legal and social framework. The study analyzes local and international laws, the nuances of online consent, and the duties of stakeholders, including local and international service providers, online communities, and law enforcement. It further addresses intellectual property considerations, international mutual legal assistance, and the digital divide. Advancing an understanding of technology-facilitated sexual violence, its harm, and gender dynamics, this thesis advocates for stronger legal and social responses.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Laws on Kerwin Newton. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, the candidate Melissa Ziswa will now be introduced to you by Supervisor Professor Statler.
It's my privilege to introduce Melissa Ziswa. Her thesis title is The Influence of South Africa's Model of Devolution in Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. Why and how does this model, concept, and text migrate? The South African devolution model, as expressed in the 93 and 96 constitutions, has been influential in the model that was adopted in the Kenyan, Zimbabwean, and Zambian constitutions. However, the nature, content, and intensity of the migrated model varied across the constitutions and their preceding constitutional drafts, depending on the local conditions and needs. Responding to a homegrown demand for devolution, the South African model was adopted and adapted because of its inherent attractiveness, coupled with a high level of knowledge of the South African system. The process of migration was not due to South African actors, but strongly facilitated by local actors who had extensive knowledge of the South African model and how it functioned in practice.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Laws on Melissa Ziswa. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, the candidate Lawrence Dekker will now be introduced to you by his supervisor, Professor van der Berg.
Thank you. It is my privilege to introduce Lawrence Dekker's thesis. The topic is Towards the Sustainable Management of the Natural Resource Curse in Africa, a Legal Appraisal. The abundance of natural resources in Africa, often assumed to be a blessing, has fueled poverty, corruption, environmental degradation, and human rights abuses, a phenomenon known as the natural resource curse. Despite vast reserves of oil, diamonds, gold, lithium, and cobalt, countries such as Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and the DRC face slow growth and poor quality of life. In his PhD research, Dekker examines how international environmental law and good governance can address the NRC alongside the complementary role of human rights frameworks. Using a desktop review of legal resources, he argues that maladministration, corruption, and foreign influence undermine African states' obligations, perpetuating the NRC. He concludes that strict adherence to sustainable management, rule of law, and human rights is essential, offering actionable recommendations to balance sovereignty, self-determination, and sustainability.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Lawrence Dekker. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, the candidate Abdul Fattah Mohammed will now be introduced to you by Supervisor Professor Mupangavanu.
It is an honor for me to introduce Mr. Abdul Mohammed,
The title of his thesis was Force Majeure in International Contracts, with particular reference to the English and the South African legal systems. This thesis examines the force majeure doctrine or supervening change of circumstances with a particular focus on its application under relevant international legal instruments as well as under English and South African law. It critically interrogates how these legal frameworks respond to unforeseen events that hinder contractual performance, including the very recent COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Mohammed argues that although English law offers parties limited relief, it is more accommodating than South African law, which remains overly rigid. He proceeds to propose a draft legislation for South Africa that incorporates hardship provisions as well as model clauses which parties may in practice include in their contracts to deal with supervening change of circumstances.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Abdul Fattah Mohammed.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Temitope Akamumi Ajani will be introduced to you by his supervisor, Professor Obukeze.
It's a pleasure to introduce Temitope Akinwumi Ajani. In his PhD thesis titled Evaluation of the Cardioprotective Effect of Centinalia asiatica Compounds, Temitope sought to identify compounds from the plant that exhibit a protective effect in ischemic heart conditions as part of the drug development process for new treatments for myocardial infarction. His study identified 2 compounds from the plant that demonstrated cardioprotective effects in preventing cell death in cardiomyocytes exposed to ischemic heart conditions as seen in myocardial infarction. Temitope's study provides significant evidence of the efficacy of these cathepsin S inhibitors and highlights the potentials of cathepsin S inhibitors as drug candidates for the management of ischemic heart conditions.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Temitope Akamumi Ajani. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Fanya Lori Bolo will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Mugabo. And I don't see him. Maybe I can take it over. The thesis title is Population Pharmacokinetics of Ethinomide and Ethnomide sulfoxide in patients with multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis. Ethinomide is one of the medicines used to treat multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis. Inside the patient's liver and inside the TB bacteria, ethinoide is converted into several metabolites, including ethinoide sulfoxide. Both are active against Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Ethanolamide of sulfoxide pharmacokinetics in TB patients is unknown. Mrs. Bowler investigated the pharmacokinetics of ethanolamide and that of ethanolamide sulfoxide in male and female MDR TB patients. She found that the maximum plasma concentration and the area under the plasma concentration curve of ethanolamide sulfoxide were respectively 12 and 40 times higher than those of ethanolamide. Further studies investigating the impact of ethanolamide sulfoxide on the common unwanted effects found in patients treated with ethanolamide were recommended. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor in Philosophy on Fanya Lori Barlow. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Samantha Kane Cross will be introduced to you by a supervisor, Professor Benji Dow.
Thesis title, Investigation of Radiogenomic Biomarkers for Radiotherapy-Induced Toxicity in Head and Neck Cancers patients. Radiotherapy is an essential treatment for head and neck cancers. However, radiotherapy is associated with acute and long-term toxicities. These may include dry mouth, difficulty in swallowing, and changes in taste, which can significantly impact the quality of life of patients. Genomic predictive biomarkers represent a promising avenue to effectively tailor treatment to minimize radiotherapy-induced toxicity and improve overall treatment outcomes. Ms. Cairncross' PhD project was set out to evaluate a panel of radiogenomic biomarkers to predict radiotherapy-induced toxicity for head and neck cancer patients. For this purpose, a retrospective observational study was conducted. It included 163 head and neck cancer patients previously treated with radiotherapy and evaluated 93 genetic biomarkers, or SNPs. The study identified a number of radiogenomic biomarkers suitable for the prediction of radiotherapy-induced toxicity for head and neck cancer patients, including early and late mycocytosis and late skin toxicity.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Samantha Kane Cross. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Chantal Tabiseng Shulwana will be introduced to you by a supervisor, Professor Dube.
Chantal Tabiseng Shulwana's PhD, this is titled Multispectral Remote Sensing of Groundwater-Dependent Ecosystems in the Kruger National Park, South Africa. The research applied big data and cloud computing techniques to profile and monitor groundwater-dependent ecosystems in the Kruger, achieving an accuracy of 95%. The study revealed species-specific distribution patterns, diversity hotspots, and spatial temporal changes driven by hydrology, land use, while climate modeling projected a 48% decline in keystone species habitats and a 35% increase on wood vegetation. The study overall provides a scalable, data-driven tools that inform conservation planning, ecosystems resilience, climate adaptation, and sustainable management of semi-arid landscapes, which offers actionable insights for safeguarding biodiversity under changing climatic conditions.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Chantal Ndabiseng Chulwane. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Shimane Fedoji Zaunga will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Titinchi.
Water quality in South Africa is declining as a result of contamination from mining activities. Mrs. Shimane synthesized magnetic nanoparticles with various surface chemistries. These blends composites demonstrated high efficiency in removing lead ions due to their excellent adsorption capacity, ease of separation, and recycling ability. These adsorbents show great potential for practical application in removing heavy metals from aqueous environment. Mrs. Sagi published a paper in an international journal, presented her result orally at the International Conference of Nanomaterials Science and Aveiro University in Portugal. And she presented her results at International Conference for Women in Science Without Borders at Brazilian Academy of Science. And later she presented her results at Advanced Material, Nanotechnology and Catalysis at UWC and Malaya University in Malaysia meeting.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Chimane Fedoji Zaungwe. Stay to the side, to the side, to the side. Come closer. Come closer. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Stacey Fisher will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Klein.
The thesis title of Stacey Fisher is Whole Genome Sequencing and Biocontrol Potential of Penicillium Simplicissum A4 against Fusarium proliferatum in maize. The negative impact of chemical pesticides in soil and crop health underscores the urgent need for sustainable biocontrol interventions. This study investigated a multi-omics basis and biocontrol potential of Penicillium simplicissium A4 against an ear rot pathogen of maize. By integrating high-throughput genomics, metabolomics, and proteomics data, coupled with physiobiochemical analyses, Stacy identified biomarkers associated with antimicrobial activity and plant growth promotion. She further demonstrated that A4 not only suppressed pathogen development, but reduced mycotoxin biosynthesis while improving maize growth under pathogen pressure. Together, these findings support the development of eco-friendly biocontrol strategies to reduce chemical inputs, enhance crop resilience, and promote crop production in a sustainable manner.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Stacy Fisher. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Franco Kruger will be introduced to you by Supervisor Professor Denhan.
Francois' thesis title is The Engineering of Xylan Assimilation into Industrial Strains of Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Second-generation biofuels offer a sustainable alternative to fossil fuels as they are carbon neutral and derived from renewable biomass. Francois' research enhanced bioethanol production by engineering the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae to efficiently convert hemicellulose-derived sugars from lignocellulosic biomass. Using CRISPR-Cas9, robust natural yeast isolates were equipped with a xylose isomerase and transporter for improved xylose metabolism and further enhanced with xylosidase and xylanase activities for xylan breakdown. Adaptive laboratory evolution strengthened xylose utilization, and the best performing strain achieved record ethanol titers of 3 grams per liter from xylan, the highest reported to date, bringing the goal of full biomass sugar to biofuel conversion closer to reality.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Franco Kruger. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Zandile Leave will be introduced to you by one of her supervisors, Professor Natasha Ross.
Zandile's PhD thesis title is Titanium Dioxide Reduced Graphene Oxide, Nanocomposite Sensitized Electrochemical Gas Sensor for Nitrogen Oxide and Sulfur Dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide are toxic gases that have deleterious effects on humans, animals, and the environment. The gases cause acid rain that pollutes natural water systems, harm aquatic organisms and humans. Inhalation of gases causes respiratory and cardiovascular illnesses. Ms. Levy developed a novel nanoarchitectonic sensor platform for detecting nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide gases. The sensor technology involves a titanium dioxide reduced graphene oxide electrocatalytic reactor that is sensitive at parts per trillion level. The sensor is suitable for drone-aided toxic gas monitoring at mines and industrial exhaust systems. The work is a collaboration between UWC Sensor Laboratories and Protectic Laboratories. Aspects of the work was performed at the University of Granada, Spain. Congratulations, Sandile.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Zandile Dennis Leave. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Ricarda Thelma MacDonald will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Dr. Cupido.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you Ricarda Thelma MacDonald. Her thesis title is N-methyl-D-glucamine capped gold nanostar aptasensor for dexamethasone. This doctoral work focused on developing novel electrochemical detection strategies for dexamethasone, a widely used corticosteroid prone to adverse effects when misused. Gold nanostars, synthesized using N-methyl-D-glucamine as a dual capping and stabilizing agent, were applied to enhance electron transfer and sensitivity in sensor platforms. Two novel approaches were designed, an adsorption-based sensor and a rapid incubation-free aptamer-based method. Both demonstrated excellent detection limits in the nanomolar range, strong reproducibility, and effective performance in pharmaceutical formulations as well as synthetic urine. The findings highlight gold nanostar-based sensors as powerful, low-cost, and highly sensitive alternatives for reliable drug monitoring and clinical applications.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Ricarda Thelma MacDonald. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Taylor Martin will be introduced to you by her co-supervisor, Professor Madej. Oh, she's not here. All right, I'll take it over and read the citation. The title of the thesis is Upscale Effects in the Preparation of Metal Hydride Materials. This work examined compositional, structural, morphological modifications and hydrogen absorption properties of the metal hydride materials prepared using upscale technologies. The outcomes of the research have been internationally recognized as an important advancement in the development of metal hydride alloys for hydrogen storage. The results were published in 2 research articles in high-impact international journals and presented at domestic and international conferences. The research output of this PhD project are of great significance not only to the global hydride material science community, but also to the sustainable development of South Africa's economy through the beneficiation of its rich mineral resources via establishment of local manufacturing of metal hydride materials. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Taylor Martin. Give me a hug, you. You're running away. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Michelle Meyer will be introduced to you by her co-supervisor, Professor Madei.
Good afternoon. It's my distinct pleasure to present Michelle Deslin's thesis title, Novel Nanotechnology-Based Approaches for the Treatment of HIV/AIDS and Cancer. Michelle's PhD investigated pioneering approaches for the treatment of HIV and AIDS and cancer. Because HIV weakens the body's immune system, it also increases the risk of the development of cancer. Using nanotechnology, Michelle explored the use of nanodrugs that exclusively target HIV-infected cells, thus reducing the side effects associated with HIV/AIDS drugs. Her work could ultimately advance the search for HIV/AIDS cure. A major drawback of chemotherapeutic drugs currently used for the treatment of cancer is their severe side effects. In her thesis, she reports on the synthesis of nanodrugs that can amplify the anti-cancer activity of these chemotherapeutic drugs, while also lowering their systemic toxicity. Michelle's thesis introduces innovations that will soon deliver more effective, humane treatments for HIV/AIDS and cancer. Congratulations, Michelle.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Michelle Meyer. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Teboho Nefali Moketi will be introduced to you by his supervisor, Professor Baker.
Ladies and gentlemen, uric acid is an important biomolecule produced in the liver, which may be directly measured in our body fluids such as sweat or saliva. Elevated uric acid concentrations have been linked to gout, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Extremely low-range uric acid concentrations have been linked to early stages of Parkinson's disease. By registering the very, very challenging thesis title, Engineered Printing Electronic Devices for Biosensing Clinically Relevant Biomarkers, Tebogo Moeketse was able to design and construct uric acid biosensors on flexible electrodes capable of analytical reporting of uric acid over the necessary wide range of concentrations for all clinical applications. The printing of flexible electrodes and electronic wiring for prototype point-of-care devices was done by Tebogo here at the electrochemical sensors node of the nano-micro manufacturing facility at UWC, and in collaboration with the University of Missouri in Kansas City in the United States. Tebogo leads the era of transforming the rich heritage of electrochemical sensors established at Sensor Lab Research Group here at UWC into wearable devices for continuous monitoring of health and well-being. Today, we honor his parents who are no longer with us, and we join the family and friends present today in congratulating him on this milestone.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Tebogo Nefali Moeketsi. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Mohammed Kamil Mohammed will be introduced to you by Supervisor Professor Triambak.
The world around us is made of chemical elements that were forged in the interiors of stars. Stellar nuclear reactions also produce copious amounts of particles called neutrinos, which may hold key to answering important questions regarding matter formation in the very early universe. Neutrinos are incredibly hard to study because they barely interact with matter. As an example, hundreds of trillions of neutrinos are passing through each one of us every second without anyone else realizing it. Mohammed's PhD research connected the physics of neutrinos to nuclear reactions in exploding stars called novae by making use of an experimental technique called the single neutron pickup reaction. He also developed rigorous data analysis procedures to interpret these data and extend our current understanding of stellar explosions and neutrino properties.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Mohammed Kamil Mohammed. Well done. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Dokas Mutukwa will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Kutseng.
Dorcas's thesis title is Green Synthesis of Zinc Oxide Nanoparticles using Leonotis osimifolia extracts and their photocatalytic and antibacterial activity. Dorcas Mutukwa's thesis title introduces a groundbreaking green synthesis of zinc oxide nanoparticles using Leonotis osimifolia an indigenous, unexplored African plant applied for the first time in nanomaterial production. Her biosynthesized nanoparticles achieved 99.9% degradation of methylene blue and exhibited potent antibacterial activity, addressing global challenge in wastewater remediation and antimicrobial resistance. Through innovative optimization and immobilization techniques, she enhanced the nanoparticle stability and scalability. Her findings are published in 5 peer-reviewed articles in high-impact journals, affirming Africa's leadership in sustainable nanotechnology and botanical innovation. Thank you.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Dukas Dwake. Oh, well done, my dear. Well done, well done. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Nzuburu Rondo will be introduced to you by Supervisor Professor Ajayi, who is me. The thesis title is Eco-Compatible Bimetallic Zinc Iron Nanoparticles, Effects on Drug-Contaminated Soil and Drought-Stressed Sorghum Bicolor. Drought is a global challenge in agriculture, which leads to over 50% crop losses. Mr. Ndo's doctoral research successfully synthesized green bimetallic zinc ferrite nanoparticles from rooibos tea extract with the aim to combat drought stress in sorghum plants. The findings of his study demonstrated that these nanoparticles improve plant growth, health, nutrient uptake, and antioxidant capacity while reducing oxidative damage. This work presents an innovative and sustainable strategy for improving crop resilience and yield under climate-induced drought conditions. The impact of his work is supported by 2 published research articles in DHET-accredited international journals. During his tenure, Mr. Ndo also contributed to other publications, including 2 book chapters. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Zumburulo Ndo. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Andisiwe Ngwekazi will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Baker.
Ladies and gentlemen, biogenic amines play crucial roles in physiological processes such as neurotransmission, hormone synthesis, and cell growth. However, excessive levels of biogenic amines intake from foods and supplements can lead to adverse health effects, including food poisoning, headaches, and allergic reactions. Cucurbituril-based sensors have emerged as promising tools for the selective and sensitive detection of biogenic amines due to their unique host-guest chemistry. In registering her title as highly organized cucurbitural functionalized redox active thin films for site-directed sensing of biogenic amines, Andisiwe has employed her exceptional skills in electrochemistry and spectroscopy to demonstrate the quantitative application of cucurbitural-based sensors for the detection of histamine in red wine and dopamine in synthetic human serum at nanomolar limits of detection and superior analytical sensitivity. Andisiwe has presented her work at the annual meeting of the International Society of Electrochemistry in 2023 and has already published 2 research articles in prestigious internationally peer-reviewed journals. I congratulate Andisiwe and the Ngwekazi family on this achievement.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Andisiwe Ngwekazi. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Mangane Beryl Ramperi will be introduced to you by her supervisor, Professor Dube.
It's an honor to read the citation for Mangana Beryl Ramperi. Her thesis is titled Remotely Sensed Delineation of Groundwater-Dependent Ecosystems in the Kakia Brae Transboundary Aquifer. This doctoral research delineated and monitored groundwater-dependent ecosystems in the Kakia Brae Transboundary Aquifer that is located between South Africa and Botswana using remote sensing and big data analytics, geospatial analytical techniques. The results showed that GDEs in the area cover only 1.3% of the area, yet they are vital for biodiversity and socio-economic resilience. Though they are highly sensitive to climate variability and groundwater decline. In a study where she integrated high-resolution remote sense data and environmental data sets, the study delivers a powerful framework for ecosystems monitoring, providing critical insights for sustainable groundwater use, strengthening transboundary water governance, and informing evidence-based policy for long-term ecological and community well-being.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Mangana Beryl Ramperi. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Deval Schoolman will be introduced to you by his supervisor, Professor Fielding.
The title of Dewald's thesis is Human Coronavirus, NL63 Envelope Protein Interactions and its Role in Pathogenesis. Mr. Dewald Schoeman completed his PhD on the envelope protein of the human coronavirus NL63. This is a small but important viral protein that may explain why some coronavirus infections are more severe than others. His research focused on a region called the PDC binding motif, which enables the virus to exploit host cell proteins. He used computational tools such as homology modeling, molecular docking, and MD simulations, and laboratory techniques like protein expression, binding assays, and confocal microscopy to study these protein interactions. His findings show how small differences in viral proteins can influence disease severity and help explain coronavirus pathogenesis.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Dewald Schoeman. Well done. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Viomi Amakuro Showers will be introduced to you by Supervisor Dr. Tsengenyumva.
Viome Shawi's PhD thesis is entitled Assessment of the Factors Associated with Secondary School Attendance and Completion in South Africa, a Demographic Perspective. This PhD thesis assesses the level of school attendance and completion for upper secondary education in South Africa for 5 years study period. This study used the South African General Household Survey secondary data sets from 2015 to 2019. A quantitative research approach and cross-sectional study design were applied to this study. The key findings of the study revealed an increase in the adjusted school attendance rate and the net school attendance rate for upper secondary aged learners from 2015 to 2019. Furthermore, there was a significant increase in the secondary school completion rate in the country across study period. More key findings indicated that school completion was heavily dependent on educational attainment of learners' parents. In addition, the study found that male learners and learners who belong to poor households had the worst educational outcomes. This PhD research advocates for targeted support for poor learners in South Africa. Viome Amakuro Showers contributed to existing body of knowledge. He published 2 papers from his PhD thesis.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Viomi Amakuro Showers. Deputy Vice Chancellor, the candidate Tabang Roni Somo will be introduced to you by Dr. Lotoski, who is not here this afternoon, so I'll take it from there. The thesis title is High Entropy Hydrogen Storage Alloys and perceptives of the application in hydrogen storage systems operating at near ambient temperatures. This PhD thesis reveals how high entropy influence the system of hydrogen storage alloys, identifying intricate connections between structural morphologies, traits, thermodynamic behaviors, electronic properties, and hydrogen sorption performance. The outcomes of this work have garnered international recognition and academic dissemination. The findings were featured in one review article and 2 original research articles published in high-impact journals and were presented at both national and international scientific conferences. These contributions are poised to propel the development of hydrogen storage technologies and support the broader transition to sustainable and clean energy systems. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy on Tabang Roni Somo.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Education on the following candidates: Somaya Ahmed, Inge Hermanes, Khadija Parker, cum laude. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Education in Adult Education and Global Change on the following candidates: Mariana Carolina Dammons, Elaine Hendricks, Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Education honors on the following candidates: Tandazani Ndlovu, Hilke Chandra Skuman, Nozipo Shamaine Fokwana, Dosi Yamakela, Amashla Zonka, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Education Honors in Educational Psychology on the following candidates: Tashira Niketa van Roy, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree, confer the postgraduate diploma in technical and vocational education and training on the following candidate: Simongila Lydia Losaba. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the postgraduate certificate in education, FET, teaching on the following candidates: Imka Davids, Isetu Kakala, Molatalo Sara Kobo, Zinzi Limekaya, Andiswa Veronica Mkuni, Mohammed Taifir Parker, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Education, Language and Social Sciences on the following candidates: Regan Joanne Mentour, Boko Mslani, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Education, Languages and Life Orientation on the following candidates: Nerela Mart, Namshla Mpotolo, Anjaculus Shanae Plakis, Taylor Sims, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Education, Mathematics and Natural Science on the following candidate: Amir Hendricks, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Education in Foundation Phase Teaching on the following candidates: Emily Clark, Asemashle Sunmota Jonas. Jaden Peter Mates. Deputy Vice Chancellor requests to confer the degree Bachelor of Education in Senior Phase and FET Education and Training teaching on the following candidates. Sinkolo Konjwa. Donnelly's Natasha Matthews. Erin Melton. Kinola Pamela Robertson. Angelo Janelle Rosso. Tamara Sal. Sinaletu Sitembele. Giselle Valentine. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the Higher Diploma in Education on the following candidate, Beverly Han Humphreys.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Laws on the following candidates, Ratula Bekus. Ketra Boer. Leanne Kipido. Lucille Daniels. Zamir Jaffer. Imra Malik. Liano Maporisa. Abongile Marman. Tandil Wetu Mbombo. Greg Mslanga. Sihle Ndabeni. Elesile Ndlovu Nachamba. Paweni Makata. Can stand there. Sipa Mandla Ntabeni Solomon. Nathan Philander. Nonklolisi Kongongo. Dorcas Ralefatane. And Dylan Smith. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Laws in Legal Pluralism and Family Law on the following candidate. Anda Silo. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Philosophy on the following candidate, Mandla Gagai. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the postgraduate diploma in labor law on the following candidates, Nosipo Dubula. Sonwabise Duma. Rudolf Fredericks. Garth George. Andrei Hartneck. Boy Selesi. Tamsanka Jafta. Patiswa Mazwai. Zola Kalisa. Macy Polile. Kayakazi Kolo. Ayanda Rawatini. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the postgraduate diploma in public law on the following candidates: Tapelo Jacobs, Damaris Kivitz, Raymond Legrandsie, Carlo Loff, Temba Makamu, Dichikane Rachel Mashego, Andile Mbali, Olani Mbali, Kina Ngwali, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Law, Bachelor of Commerce in Law on the following candidates: Vuyowetu Chidi, Karabu Gina, Liema Joko, Sibulele Mchiza, Kamva Mdikane, Dina Clemens Mukendi, Simtan Dile Ndlela, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Laws on the following candidates: Sitabile Mashego, Retabile Mochabi, Nkokeli Nkeketo, Kiran Rosenkrantz, Chanel September, Onele Sekuni, Muhammad Abdarukhim Solomons, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the highest certificate in forensic examination on the following candidates. Palesa Masiu. Sipesitile Nkomonye. Bongeka Piose. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the Advanced Diploma in Labour Law on the following candidates. Derek Masango. Andiswa Magwatkaza. Kena Ninja. Cedric Nyembe. Boitumelo Tlapi. Thank you.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Clinical Pharmacy on the following candidate. Minka Westeisen. Oh, you too. Oh. Rachel Yip Courtney. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Physical Science on the following candidate. Olisani Nkosi Ngwadla. Andile Sfiso Zulu. All right. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Environment and Water Sciences on the following candidates. Daisy Obakeng Molamodi. Oh, magna cum. Masichaba Lebogang Moropane, summa cum laude. Anelka Nichols, cum laude. Malika Patel. Sebastian Stencil. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Nanoscience on the following candidates. Mongezi Dlamini, cum laude. Ezinhle Mhlaba. Sisipho Sathula. Zenita Lorian Young. I've lost my order now. Pharmaceutical science, eh? I've lost my order. All right. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Science on the following candidates. Poloso Salvation Nyalungu. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Biotechnology to the following candidate, Malika Abrahams. Alika Amin, cum laude. Tanwir Paket, cum laude. Jody Court, cum laude. Michelle Hayes, magna cum laude. Casey Lee. Sbusiso Matembe Mbewe, cum laude. Jessica Caroline Ann Morrow, cum laude. Anushka Nichols. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Chemical Sciences on the following candidates. Rizan Lemise Dreyer. Thank you so much, Shabane. Dawood Mohammed Parker. Mojesi Monica Rampai. Bo Yang. Computer science. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Computer Science on the following candidate, Apile Kondla. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Mathematical Science on the following candidates, Joshua David Passmore, summa cum laude. Congrats. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Pharmacy Administration and Public Regulation on the following candidates, Daluong Gift Lungu. Letukuthula Manyaga. Dylan Singh. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Master of Science in Applied Geology on the following candidates: Rudy Brent Mott. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science, Honours in Biotechnology on the following candidates: Sukanye Bediashe. Siolise Roloma. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science, Honours in Biodiversity and Conservation Biology on the following candidates: Ryan Patrice. Jason Ross. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science, Honours in Chemistry on the following candidates: Sokame Dweba. Asivile Mbaxa. Rish Kapati. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science, Honours in Statistical Science on the following. Excuse me. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science, Honours in Mathematics on the following candidates: Yonelisa Dase. Jody Williams. Population Studies. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science, Honours in Population Studies on the following candidates: Younger class. Jivuya Felicia Mapalu. Noctula Maposa. Suvuya Nekavambe. Siyamthanda Kholoma. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the postgraduate diploma in integrated water resource management on the following candidate, Tabisile Buqaqawuli Mjobo. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Pharmacy on the following candidates, Mxolisi Kwazi Mkhwananzi. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Biodiversity and Conservation Biology on the following candidates, Chelsea Jane Motis. Maxima Unica Ngwangu. Sihle Shelembe. Nicole True. Isa Xolelwa Valashia. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology on the following candidates. Thandokazi Kobozi. Shiluva Makanana Mabuza. Sikhona Mankai. Fatuani Kavarule Mavunga. Tadiwalashe Praise Mpofu. Bandile Ngobo. Peggy Wilson Chabalala. Peggy Wilson Chabalala. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Chemistry on the following candidates. Pile Minentle Kanyile. Sangano Abdil Koza. Liema Mkolosi. Fikile nkosazana Ngonyolo. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Computer Science on the following candidates. Lisipiso Kose. Ilham Luki. Junior Mukiza. Ntaganizeni Galima. Akola Poswayo. Happy Litabo Seuketsa. Fonzo Tavana. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Environmental and Water Science on the following candidates. Ongezwa Kasani. Silindile Angel Dubazane. Sithembile Kaveni. Hayi la konoko. Kunyiswa Kabeni. Caitlin Unati Koza. Sibonga konke mina enhle khuzwayo. Mapaseka Mantlantla Presidia Mabuku. Salome Lerato Makopa. Mbali Thembelihle Mahlangu. Masekete Petras Manamela. Sipazi mehlo makhulu. Nolusizo Ndebele. Kwanda perfect ngidi. Mamketi Felicia Pelane. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Statistical Sciences on the following candidates. Dinewo Tracy Makwela. Medical Biosciences. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Medical Bioscience on the following candidates. Abdul Deyan Arend. Michael Rohan Duplessis. Muhammad Tahir Francis. Alizwa Kolela. Is that Pilasande Gwengane. Shamira Mellon. Alpha Mashudu Maluleke. Chantel Mangisi. Salma Mohammed. Dion Kosinat Ntlemo. Camera. Nur Wahi. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Science in Physics on the following candidate, Kgotseitsile Thuso Ntsono.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree Bachelor of Commerce Honours in Human Resource Management on the following candidate. Evan Hartnick. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the Advanced Diploma in Public Administration on the following candidates. Sean Abrams. Sylvia Block. Shirna Philander. Melissa Fredericks. Yandiswa George. Ntombi Zanele Goko. Kanelwa Jacobs. Nosicelo Jikazi.
Yes, my first name, please.
It's Job, eh? It's Job and not Job. Job.
Well, potentially like the Bible, Job or Job, it doesn't matter.
Jason Job. Aviwe Jose. Zoleka Ketelo. Ivan Clausen. Palesa Koboka. Joe Wayne Larry. Sipiwo Letompa. Tebelo Lewela. Nkabakazi Lutwaba. Akona Lujiva. Mapaseka Magwevana. Nomabadi Makalima. Nandipa Mavuso. Kantilomzi Mbane. Mark MacDonald. Mpumzi Mjikeliso. Zukiswa Ngojana. Nicholas Moshasha. Nombulelo Mpakumpaku. Ntombekaya Myeliletsi. Semkita Myolzolo. Ngumisa Ngani. Nomhle Nkofe. Francis Nkongolo. Nomachangisa Nkeza. Simpiwe Nini. Mtunzi Nokakana. Babalwa Palaza. Kakambile Pasiwe. Emma Jane Philander. Zandile Pinyane. Lehlohonolo Sekano. Tembakazi Sifumba. Zukowetu Sikwa. Nesizwa Sonkobongela. Trudy Sotondoshe. Posiza Sowazi. Stele. Nonkululeko Stele. Andiswa Stemela. Lerato Swartz. Chepo Swartz. Tozama. Nangamso Tuku. Nesiza Tilo. Stephen or Stefan? Stephen. Stephen Williams. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the Advanced Diploma in Management on the following candidates. Sesetu Odwana. Bukelwa Kiva. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the Advanced Diploma in Financial Planning on the following candidate. Your card. Liam White. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the highest certificate in economic development on the following candidates. Jaden Bentley. Sinatemba Mahanjana.
Sure. All good things must come to an end. They don't last forever, isn't it? Thank you so much for staying the course, but we would normally end it the UWC way. So I'd like you to stand. And I would like you to look around, find your family, your loved ones, your friends, lift your certificate, and cheerfully appreciate. Thank you. The people behind me have been your pillar of strength, your support as you transitioned into this university, as you transitioned within, and now you are transitioning out. So they deserve your thanks. You can do the same, wave your certificate to them and appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Le nhlangano ye-University yaseNtshona Koloni ifikelele esiphelweni. Hier die vergadering van die Universiteit van Weskaapland word nou vandag. This congregation of the University of the Western Cape is now dissolved. Thank you so much. Travel safe, those who are traveling. You sit down until you leave.
wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wishing on me. Yeah. I've been moving calm, don't start no trouble with me. Trying to keep it peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you loving on me. I don't wanna die for them to miss me. Yes, I see the things that they wishing on me. Hope I got some brothers that outlive me. They gon' tell the story was different with me. God's plan, God's plan. I hold back, sometimes I won't, yeah. I feel good, sometimes I don't, hey, no. I finesse down Western Road, hey, next. Might go down to G.O.D., yeah, wait. I go hard on Southside G, yeah, wait. I make sure that Northside eat. And still, bad things. It's a lot of bad things that they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wishing on me. Bad things. It's a lot of bad things that they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wishing on me. Yeah. Hey, hey. She say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom, I'm sorry. 50 dub, I even got it tatted on me. 81, they'll bring the crashers to the party. And you know me, turn the 02 into the 03, dawg. Without 40 Ollie, there be no me. Imagine if I never met the broskies. God's plan, God's plan. I can't do this on my own, hey, nope, hey. Someone watching it close, yep, close. I've been me since Scarlet Road, hey, Might go down as G.O.D., yep, wait. I go hard on Southside G, hey, wait. I make sure that Northside eat, yeah. And still, bad things. It's a lot of bad things that they wishing and wishing and wishing and wishing they wishing on me. Yeah. Yeah. Bad things. It's a lot of bad things that they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wishing on me. Yeah.
Ungangibuza ukuthi kwenzeni